Hello everyone, I'm Santiago, and today on my i3-4150 PC that I don't use anymore because I gave it to my brother. I just borrowed it for a couple hours in order to record some gameplay, so with the GTX 1050 Ti superclocked and the EVGA 430W power supply 80+, not bronze or silver. As you can see there, i3-4150, GTX 1050 Ti, and 2 sticks of 4GB of RAM, DDR3 at 1600 MHz. So first of all, we're going to test Battlefield 1, since I didn't test this in the past, because, well, it wasn't released. I'm going to be using 1080p, 90 degrees FOV, and in the advanced settings, I'm going to be using ultra textures, medium lighting effects and post-process quality, and the rest on high, and SSAO. And I played on multiplayer on the most CPU demanding section of the game I found, which is this huge city map, as you can see there. And I was very shocked with the frame rate we got. Just keep in mind that dual channel in this case is very important for the performance, since we are CPU bound here. This game uses a ton of CPU and it's hard to maintain 60 FPS even on an i5. So I was very shocked that on the i3-4150 I was able to get mostly 45 to 70 FPS, but I mean, it's very playable and the performance seems to be much more stable than on consoles, for what I could see. Consoles drop to 45 FPS, here we do too, but it seems to be less often. But I'll keep the video going for Battlefield 1, so enjoy the Battlefield 1 gameplay and we'll be back for the next game.
Grenade! Grenade out! Look on! Heads off! Grenade out!
We are losing objective Charlie.
Grenade out! Eyes open! Shot through!
We are losing objective Charlie. We have taken objective Butter.
Objective's ours! Enemies on front! Grenade out! Mind your heads!
We have lost objective Charlie.
Been lost! Make them pay!
We are losing objective Duff. Halfway there, the enemy has the upper hand. We have taken objective Edward.
There's a grenade for them! There's a grenade for them!
Okay guys, so now I'm going to test GTA 5. As you can see, the advanced graphics are all disabled, of course. We're doing 1080p, no VSync, FXAA on, all the sliders maxed, and a mix between high and very high. This is very close to ultra settings, but not quite, of course. So what I'm going to do is get in some of the weapon cheats in order to get a lot of weapons. Then the invincibility cheat, so I don't die. And well, that's pretty much all I'm going to do. Then I'm going to get a helicopter and fly around the city a little bit. And the game does drop below 60 FPS, but it drops less below 60 than when the GTX 1060 with this i3 was tested. That's because of the dual channel RAM. That was a bottleneck in the system too, so I used dual channel RAM as I told you at the beginning. But if you have a higher end motherboard that supports higher frequencies, higher RAM frequencies, you'll have a better experience, since when we are CPU bound, higher frequency memory will help in the performance. I will link videos talking about that in the description below, made by Digital Foundry. And indeed, when you're CPU bound, higher memory frequency helps a lot. But anyway, this plays better than I expected. We are very close to 60 FPS. We are between 45 and 80 FPS. It depends on what we're doing. When we are flying around, we drop below 60. When there are a lot of explosions, we also drop below 60. But the game is totally playable. I mean, on the PS4 and Xbox One, we also have 30 FPS locked. But in my opinion, this is a much better way of playing the game. And it's very smooth. If you get an i5 later in the future, you'll just get a more consistent frame rate. But yeah, totally playable. Now The Witcher 3, I'm going to test 1080p on a mix between high and ultra. The settings that will be on high will be shadows, full visibility range and detail level, all those on high, the rest on ultra, and post-processing will be using SSAO, no anti-aliasing, and the rest pretty much on, except depth of field and chromatic aberration. And we are going into Novigrad, since this is a very CPU bound area of the game. The closer you get to the city, the higher the CPU usage will be. We get up to 100% usage, which is pretty incredible just in this section of the game. Then if you go into the woods are more GPU bound, since the CPU is not doing a lot of stuff there. It's like down to 60% usage. So I'm testing here in Novigrad since it's CPU intensive. As you can see, the CPU is over 95%, almost hitting 100. And the GPU is fine. Right now we are at 100%, which is not bad at all. I was expecting much worse from this. If you lower the settings in order to get a higher frame rate, you will probably still be locked at 50, since the CPU is being used almost at its maximum capacity. So yeah, if you, as you see there, a stutter, that's due to the CPU. But yeah, totally playable. As long as you don't expect 60 FPS constant, you'll be fine at around 45 to 50.
Let her burn Imagine a market.
Don't touch me.
I like Hammerfart so much.
How are we to fight a pestilence?
Now Batman Arkham Knight, 1080p, some stuff turned off, such as GameWorks, motion blur, anti-aliasing, chromatic aberration, and all that kind of stuff. And well, I disabled those because they are kind of annoying. Anti-aliasing sometimes gave me more stutters, but this game stutters quite a lot, as you could see there. It just dropped, just like that. When you move fast through the map, when you're driving and fighting at the same time, or just flying around like I'm doing right now, the game just kills the performance. The performance just is destroyed by all the assets being loaded at the same time. The game is not a particularly good port by any means, but the patches helped, but they didn't fix the game completely. So yeah, we have those stutters every now and then. Even on my i7-4790 it happens, so keep that in mind. This is not only happening on this kind of PC. My suggestion is to just cap it at 30 FPS in this case, since it avoids most of the stutters when moving around the map. They still happen, but they are way less often. But yeah, as you can see, totally playable. It's annoying to play with stuttering, but at least we can play, I guess.
God, what's he doing? That man just saved my ass.
So we've been hunting all night?
Well, now Mafia 3, 1080p, high settings. I'll test everything on high, then I will lower volumetric effects and reflection quality to low, since those are the most demanding settings that I could find in the game. This is after the 5GB patch. This is a patch that was released very recently that I didn't test on the channel because I didn't have enough time. I have 5 GPUs, I couldn't test it on all of them. As you can see there, yeah, we were getting drops below 30 when moving in the car. So I'm just dropping volumetric effects and reflections to the minimum. And now we're going to get a more stable frame rate. If you target 30 FPS, it will be very stable for the most part. But yeah, the game is much better after the patch, at least on CPU usage. The game with the i3 on some cards, it wasn't able to get over 32 FPS. Now it's able to go up to 40 sometimes, it depends on where you are. I'm just showing this part because it's on downtown. There seems to be some of the drop seems to be very sudden. That's why you see like a very inconsistent frame rate, but it's actually around 30 FPS. I suggest just capping the game at 30, so the CPU usage is lower and we get a more consistent frame rate. But yeah, so far the game is playable, much better than I expected. They did a good job with the new patch, but it's a much better experience than on release, by far.
I'm calling the cops.
Oh, God!
What did that boy just do?
We need to move!
Cops need to hear about this.
think he has a gun.
Hey now.
This new manager won't spring for new fans while we sweat in the back office. This child's going right down the poop shoot.
How about the laws of God? It ain't natural.
Now we're testing Rise of the Tomb Raider. First, I'll show you pretty much very high settings with high textures. For some reason, reloading textures is shown all the time, but the textures were already loaded. As you will see right now, as you can see there, 1080p, GTX 1050 Ti, FXAA. I apply the changes, yeah. And well, this is the one of the parts after around 1 hour and a half of gameplay. It's called the Soviet installation. This is one of the most CPU intensive parts I played so far that I can remember. This is the worst performing part for me. As you can see there, when I'm looking into the distance, I get drops below 30. You can tweak the settings a little bit, but I will be very brief about this one. I go into the options and just change the preset to high, which it looks pretty good, I have to say. And it performs much better. As you can see there, high preset, and I'm going to play a little bit, but it's over 30 FPS. I didn't get drops below 30, which is awesome considering this game uses a lot of CPU. As you can see right now, we are looking into the snow and not much is happening, and we're getting over 90% usage, which is kind of insane, but the game is playable. That's what's important here.
Roger.
Hold on.
There's more of them arriving.
Shut that pump off. I want those crates as far away from the fire as possible.
Someone there?
There's ammo in there, and we can't afford.
Heads up! Incoming! Spread out. Keep your eyes open. He's there! Open fire! Ah!
Got the flag.
Ah! Let's go! Oh! He's dead!
Just you and me.
Now I'm testing HITMAN, 1080p, a mix between medium and high. Level of detail was lowered to medium due to the CPU. And as you can see here, I'm in Marrakesh. This is the most CPU intensive map I found so far because there's a huge number of NPCs. And with the 1060, even at the lowest setting, I had drops below 30 FPS. There I had a big stutter, that's due to the CPU. And for some reason, sometimes the counter of the CPU usage freezes. When as you can see there now, it's on 82%. With the 1060, it was stuck at around 75% usage, the CPU. It seems to be that due to the dual channel RAM, we can use more of the CPU since we are CPU bound here. And we get a more consistent frame rate. I mean, on the 1060 I couldn't get 30 FPS consistently, and here we are over 30 FPS, so good news. I suggest getting dual channel RAM. It's very important in these cases. When you are on a budget like this one and cannot afford a more expensive CPU, just spend on dual channel RAM. And finally we have Dying Light. I don't know if you can see that, but it's 1920 by 1080. Very high shadow map size, pretty much very high settings, with some stuff turned off. But as you can see here, when I'm looking into the distance, I get drops below 60 FPS. As you can see there, the GPU usage is quite low and the CPU usage is quite high, so As always, Bottleneck. Let's just pause the game and change a couple settings here and there. The view distance is the most important, just lower it to the minimum, you won't notice the difference, it's just like on a console. And as you can see there, now we get over 60 FPS. So let's jump down and start with the game. One other thing you might want to lower in order to avoid those drops below 60 FPS, just the shadows, drop them from very high to high. The difference is quite small and you get a good FPS boost, around 5 to 10 FPS, which is awesome. I'll lower the shadows later into this clip, but you'll see it there. But yeah, those are all the games I had to show you. I'm so sorry for doing so little games. I tried to do more, but the PC was just borrowed for a couple hours since my brother uses it for university. I just got the PC for him since he needed a computer, so I just built it for him. I just borrowed it for a couple hours since he needs it, as I said. But I could test some games here. The results impressed me. Actually, I was expecting much worse, but it seems that the dual channel RAM had a lot to do with these results, in my opinion, since we had better results on the GTX 1060. So on the 1060 I was using single channel RAM, so that was a bottleneck there too. I suggest using, again, dual channel. I can't stress it enough, use dual channel RAM. It's a big difference when you are CPU bound, which is the case on all these games. Remember that this is when you are on a budget. And a 1050 Ti doesn't even require a 6-pin power cable, so you are actually using very little power, almost the same as when you had a GTX 750 Ti, and we get much better performance. So it's impressive actually. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
Ooh.